I'm going to bring in Emma Pearmaine. You've done a Freedom of Information request to every police force in England to compile these figures on arrests and charges for coercive control in the first 18 months of this new legislation. And there is a lot of variation. In some areas, more than a third of arrests result in charges. In others, it's much smaller percentage. Why do you think there is that variation?
I think there are a number of issues, actually. I'm involved with a domestic violence charity, the Corporate Alliance, and we have been invited to a number of police forces to deliver training on coercive control. And that's been very useful for the police officers involved. And I am assured by all police forces that they are taking training for their frontline officers very seriously, and they are delivering training. And I think we can see from the difference in the number of arrests made in the first half of 2016 to the number of arrests made in the first half of 2017 that police officers are now very much more aware of the issues of coercive control and much more able to recognise it.
And yet only 1 in 6 of those arrests leads to a charge.
Still only 1 in 6.
Why might that be the case? And then I'll ask you, David, obviously.
Well, there are very challenging evidential issues that the police and the Crown Prosecution Service have to deal with, and we have to accept that. There has to be an element of repeated behaviour that has to be evidenced. It has to be seen that the victim has experienced fear and adapted their behaviour as a result. And we also have to be able to see that the perpetrator or alleged perpetrator knew effectively that their behaviours would result in the victim feeling fear. And actually that's a very difficult thing to prove. Very difficult.
I mean, you know, Lisa Marie talks about her mobile phone being smashed or chucked into the bath, or the top of her car being slashed. You know, you can see the physical outcome of that happening, but don't go on Facebook, don't go out, don't talk to them. That's much harder to prove, isn't it, David? Are you seeing in the data that you've looked at there are more arrests leading to charges in areas where the police have taken up the training?
Yes, we are. Certainly so within the sector of domestic violence, absolutely. We recognise it in terms of the clients that we represent day in, day out across the country as family lawyers, and I see it in my role working with the Corporate Alliance Against Domestic Violence. And those forces where we are invited to attend and deliver training, we can see that statistics for those forces are actually very positive, and they are increasing in terms of the number of arrests, and actually there is a very small increase in terms of the number of charges.
Yeah. I mean, they are really interesting, the figures. Data from 35 police forces in England show that in the first 18 months of the new law, there were 4,000 arrests for coercive control, but only 17% were charged with the offence. By comparison, a decision to charge was made for 70% of domestic abuse-related cases referred to the CPS by the police. That's according to the ONS. So it's just interesting to compare at this stage.